The Lightspeed project that we have, it was when we have in the middle, on the starting of the pandemic. Pfizer creates the first vaccine available in Colombia, and that was a really fast project. In that sense, it was a real clear purpose, real clear of how to be innovative, how to use the clinical information and experience, but also how we can create collaboration between the private sector and the public sector.
Welcome to Why Colombia, the podcast where we dive into the real stories of those who have taken a chance to invest in Colombia and have come out on top. I am Julio Cesar Puentes, Vice President of Foreign Investment at ProColombia, and together with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism, we are thrilled to invite you to join us on this journey of discovery, joining into our podcast to unlock the full potential of Colombia as a destination for foreign direct investment. Pfizer stands as one of the most renowned pharmaceutical companies globally. Throughout the pandemic, it provides a prime example of collaborative effort aimed to the common good. Pfizer has maintained its presence in Colombia for over 70 years, introducing a diverse portfolio of products to our nation. Today, it's my privilege to introduce Ana Dolores Román. With impressive career spanning 24 years within both the health sector and Pfizer, Ana Dolores embodies dedication, leadership, and expertise. Through various roles and remarkable accomplishments, she has held positions such as Country Manager for Ecuador, Product Manager, Medical Promotion Manager, Trade Marketing Manager, and Business Unit Manager. She is an exceptional leader, a strategic thinker, and a role model for emerging professionals. We extend a warm welcome to Ana Dolores on the Why Colombia podcast. Welcome, Ana. Female leadership, Ana Dolores. And as a father of two daughters, I have to ask you, what is your inspiration? What is the personal motivation of Ana Dolores to assume this kind of challenge in your life? Be wife, be mother, and also what is the other phase of Ana Dolores here in Pfizer? What kind of things you like to motivate in your team?
Hi, Julio. This is a very deep question in my heart. I want to tell you that my inspiration was my grandmother. She was 17 years old when she decided to move away from her house to pursue her dream. She wants to be a doctor. And in that moment, you have to tell the 40s, imagine the 40s, she has her father, he didn't want her to study. So she moved from one city to another one to pursue her dream, and she started studying. And she finalized to be one of the first doctors in my home country, Ecuador. So she has been my inspiration through the entire life, because she has to work how to deal with the stereotypes. She has to move away from the biases. She wants to be really courageous about her real development and to find her really deep purpose. And she has to move herself from the comfort zone. So I am like her. So since I was a really very, very young girl, I was with my grandparents during my vacations in their house. And their house was a hospital in Ibarra, one city 2 hours from Quito. And it was really nice because I saw people suffering when they entered to the hospital and moving away from a really happy face in her face. And it was really nice because I saw the real purpose and the physician's action to pursue how to develop themselves and how to provide health. And I saw my grandmother and I saw my grandfather working towards to provide health and life to the communities. And they serve different types of people. So it was really nice for me to see that since I was a very young girl. And I wanted always to work, and I always wanted to be a better person. So that's why you told me about your kids. And I want also to have a conversations with little young, with university students, or real young girls or old girls or women, because we can do it. The important is to have a real clear purpose in your life, to understand you're self-aware of yourself, and also to be confident. I think the most important thing that I wanted to also to provide to all my team is you can be yourself, you have to maintain your authenticity, and you can have and pursue your dreams as long as you want to have it, as long as you want to pursue them. So I really want always to support my team and the people who's working with me to develop themselves. So I want to have my legacy of a person that can support others to grow and support others to develop and challenge themselves in an appropriate way to be a better selves. That's the way. And in my house, I always wanted to have this kind of conversations with my husband, my kids, is how we can be a better persons in the world, and also to be more inclusive, because you can be diverse. You can be really open to diversity, open to diversity of thinking, of the ethnicity, of the cultural, because for instance, I am Ecuadorian working in Colombia. And I was in my house is really funny because my husband is Colombian, my son is Peruvian, and my daughter and myself, we are Ecuadorian. So when I go to a trip, I have to show my different passports. And this is a way to approach that diversity is part of my life, in my family, of my culture. But in that sense, you need to be open to new ideas, challenge yourselves. And in that sense, it's really interesting to have different perspectives. So that's why I talk with my son, I talk with my daughter, that you can be whatever you want to be as long as you want to be the best of yourself.
Wow. Thanks for the insights, and how lucky we are to have you here in Colombia leading a company like this and working with us. Running your veins, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Well, Ana Dolores, thank you for having us here, for invite us also for this special meeting. I would like to share that if you can share with us a little bit more about where we are and why this room is special.
So thank you, Julio. I'm so happy to be here with you today. This is a really important room that I say. This is called the White Room. We have this special room in every site of Pfizer worldwide that begin in headquarters. The importance of this room is it is a strategic room. Our CEO, Albert Bula, joined this idea to have the opportunity to have everybody of the steering committee sitting together to review strategies, to sit and think, and thanks also. And this is really important because we have here, I don't know if you can see it, is our purpose, breakthroughs that change patients' lives. This is really important because this blueprint and this purpose is driving us how we are focusing all our strategies, our initiatives, our projects, aim to have better strategies for patients. So that's the way of having this. And also, you can see in front of this room, we have pictures of patients, which either are families or friends that are helping us to think about them. So the purpose of this room is to think about the benefits and the wellness and the health for patients.
Awesome. And if you can see, maybe in the walls there are no screens. I mean, this is very special also because the idea is to unplug yourself and be, focus on the conversation, and you can plan the strategy as Ana Dolores mentioned. Well, for us it's an honor to be here in this room. Ana Dolores, we know that you have worked through several countries. How has been experience in leading different teams in Latin, and specifically, how has it been in Colombia?
Well, my journey began 28 years ago, which is a lot, more than half of my life. I can tell you that's really important. I'm Ecuadorian, so as an Ecuadorian living in different countries is very important. And for me, I joined, Part Davis was acquired by Pfizer in 2000, and I was moved from different countries, different roles. And one of the special is I began as a Pfizer marketing, as a Part Davis marketing trainee. So I started since I was a really young girl, having a lot of dreams, having a lot of, aspirations in the way to approach a company. And my goal was to be here in different countries. So I had the pleasure to work in Ecuador, my home country, and Peru as well, and also Bolivia, and now in Colombia, which is my second time in Colombia working here. So it's pretty nice to have this opportunity to talk to you, because I wanted to have the young generations that having a stability in a company is feasible. We can have it as long as you want to develop yourself, and as long as you want to move or have different opportunities, different roles, and different, a career path, if you want.
Excellent. Excellent career, amazing career. Initially in Part Davis and then in Pfizer when we were acquired. Without a doubt, you are an example of female leadership. And I have a question about that. How can gender equality be fostered in the field of leadership? And what actions can companies take to promote in their executive teams?
Pfizer has very modern in the thinking of how to develop diversity and inclusion. And in fact, since 2005, I think we started to have different branches of diversity and inclusion. So we work with women, with Latins, we work with Afro-Americans, Afro-Colombians, Afro-Latins, and we also work with LGTB. So women, as one of the branches that we have, it is very interesting because we lead by example. And in that sense, we have a career path in the company. We have opportunity to have conversations about the development and how we can pursue different competencies and skills to work towards your goals, towards your dreams. So I have been, since I started 28 years ago, I have been very curious and how I was going to be in my role. I always wanted to be a country manager. That was one of the goals. In fact, I wanted to be the first country manager in my home country. And I was the first Ecuadorian in Pfizer, Ecuador. And then I had the opportunity to move here. But it depends on how you can deal with the company, how you can pursue that within yourself. And the company provides us the tools and all the competences to develop ourselves. So we have something that we call resource groups worldwide. And then we have in the different branches across the world, different opportunities to work towards the needs and the country. So sometimes we work in ethnicity, sometimes we work in LGBT groups, and then we work also in women. So in order to have the minorities represented in the boards that we have in the company.
Fantastic. You mentioned that one of the things that Pfizer does is works in diversity, inclusion, equity, and also in some way support the dreams of the people that work in the company. Speaking about that, and considering all these issues around diversity today and all the topics about inclusion, here in Colombia, could you tell us more a little bit about the social impact programs in the country led by Pfizer and led by you?
Sure, but I would like to begin with the internal colleagues that are really important, and then we can go ahead with a different approach that we can do externally. First of all, one of the things that we want to have as a global strategy that we had is we have to build a more inclusive company. This is really important because we want to have a colleague experience. So I want to give you some examples that are really interesting. For instance, we have 12 colleagues here that learn how to work with science language. And it was really interesting because for, I think 1 or 2 months ago, we hired one colleague with disability. So we have the opportunity to interact, and we have to work ourselves how to interact with people with disabilities. And this is also one of the things that we want to have it, because all the environment, the workplace that we have here in the new site that we have is really focused on having colleagues experience with all the colleagues that we have here, because we want to have all the colleagues to feel seen, heard, and cared for it, which is really interesting. And also one of the 4 values that we have in Pfizer is equity. So the 4 values that we have is, one is excellence, the other is courage, the other is joy, and the other is equity. So in terms of equity, it's really important this in the internal part of the company. But also I would like to share with you the contribution that we have to reduce the disparities in Colombia. We have different examples, because one of the things that we want to do is to ensure that you have accessible healthcare outcomes within the entire population. So in that sense, we want to have some of the things that we call red codes. This is really important because one of the products that we have are life savings. In that sense, we can have the products from one city to another specific sites in less than 5 hours. And we save lives because they are really important antibiotics and serums that are really critical and life-threatening that. So in that sense, we have also another examples. This is really important. We have an IBRIS. It is related to the rapidly detection of cancer, of oncology disease in women. And this is really interesting because we delivered 11 of these kind of mouse to ensure that they have an early diagnostic for about 26,000 women, and then, which is really interesting in different communities in La Guajira, Atlántico, Cauca, Bolívar, Cesar, and Casanare and Sucre, which are really interesting because we aim to be close to the different populations, to the vulnerable populations, and to ensure that we have equitable access in health that are really interesting. So in that sense, we have different opportunities to ensure, for instance, another one is in terms of learning, in terms of digitalization of learning, because after the pandemic, it's really critical to ensure that we can provide access to education through different opportunities and tools. And in that sense, we have the Instituto Científico Pfizer Colombia, which is going to be turning 10 years this year also. And this is going to provide a lot of activities in terms of the academy, in terms of how to promote education and investigation, and also how to ensure the different D&I partnerships across the company to transform the communities, to transform the families, to transform the society, and to provide healthcare to everybody in terms of access to everyone to have and really care about the medicine for vaccine.
Thank you very much for sharing this with us. If you can freeze us, we want to mention some of these in our weekly article that we put in our social networks. For us, it will be a pleasure to share with our audience and also with the entrepreneurial community a little bit more about what you are doing, because sometimes, besides all the things that are happening now in our reality, I mean, for us, it's important that communicate to our audience the other things, the other phase of the companies has here in Colombia, and their commitment with our society. If you authorize us, we are going to share a little bit more with you guys in our weekly article.
Of course, it will be very interesting because in that sense, you're going to see that the purpose that we have here, the breakthrough that changed patients' lives. It's not just in terms of medicines and vaccines. We are providing innovative solutions to everyone. And this is going to be in those examples that you can share, of course, with the audience.
Thank you. Now, Ana, we are in the month of the 70 years of Pfizer in Colombia. Could you please share with us the results that has driven Pfizer growth and confidence in our country? And what do you believe has been the key success that you achieved here?
Sure. There are more than 300, almost 400 colleagues here. I think I would love to begin with the people. I think we are here because of the people that we serve, the people that are working with us, and also within the 70 years anniversary that we're having this month, we want to become more recognized company among the entire community that we have here. So thank you for that and recognizing the 70 years. And we want to have more than that. So in that sense, we have, I would like to provide two examples that are, I think, really interesting. First is related to talent. We have two hubs here. One of the hubs that we have is the financial hub. These financials provide support in terms of financing, in terms of solutions, in terms of digitalization, in terms of innovation, not just for Colombia, but also for 12 countries in Latin America. Besides that, we're having a regulatory hub. This is very interesting as well because this is supporting not just Latin America, they're providing support in the regulatory areas for US and Canada. So in that sense, we not only have the support for the Colombian operation, but also we have the support for these two important hubs that are providing local talent to provide services across the globe, which is really interesting to have Colombian talent, a very young talent, which is really interesting. Just for you to know, we have more than 53% and Generation X, which is really interesting. In that sense, we have to really motivate them to become part of this company, to fall in love with the values that we have, with the mission that we have, and also with opportunities that they have in terms of development. And these kind of hubs are a kind of the development in terms of the investment. For instance, we invest in terms of talent and experiences and to provide the opportunities for them to become a part of a global company as Pfizer.
Amazing. Human resources, one of the main advantages that Pfizer has here in Colombia. Another important issue, you were mentioning about innovation and how the innovation is in the DNA of Pfizer. Can you share with us a little bit more about this special DNA of innovation is aligned with the plans and projections of the strategic plan for the company here in Colombia?
Yes, sure. And this is really interesting. I'm going to provide like two examples of that. First of all, when we have this purpose, we also have 5 principles in the company. One is science, the other one is time is life, the other one is trust, and the other one is innovations, for instance. Yeah, and in that sense, it's really critical for us, the innovation. One of the core elements and examples of innovation is the Lightspeed project that we have. It was when we have in the middle, on the starting of the pandemic. Pfizer creates the first vaccine available in Colombia, and that was a really fast project. In that sense, it was a real clear purpose, real clear of how to be innovative, how to use the clinical information and experience, but also how we can create collaboration between the private sector and the public sector, which is critical. In that sense, it's really interesting because the innovation makes us, instead of having 14 years of clinical trials, of clinical elements related to a new drug, we have the vaccine available in 10 months in worldwide, which was amazing. For us, was really important. For us, was the innovation in not just an example, it was in an action. So we did that collaboration, and we put the first vaccine in Colombia with this creative, with this innovation, and with this collaboration run this February 15 of 2021. This is one example. The other example is when we see all the pandemic and all the actions that we have to develop, the telemedicine has been crucial. everything related how to use all the technology advances, the artificial intelligence, all these kind of new technologies in the hand of the physician, in the hand of the patient, in the hand of the customer is really critical. And we have here in Colombia an innovation hub. We try to use these agile methodology strategies and these OKRs in order to ensure that we can use it frequently and use it in different initiatives and different approaches, how we can use it in terms of being more fast to deliver vaccines, medicines, and projects to the hands of more customers and more patients. Because if we use it as a tool, the technology, if we use it, the digitalization or the articulation that we have between the talent and the technology, you can boost the disruption in this world that we're needing, because this is really part of the one of the examples that the pandemic provide us, that we can work in a virtual space. We can use the technology, the assets that we can have it for the benefits of the customer, for the benefits of the patients.
I mean, love to hear that, because this is in the same way of the public policy of the government that looks forward and that is looking for the health sovereignty. I mean, all the things that you were mentioning about that and the plan that you have and the innovation hub is in line. I mean, amazing. Thank you very much for that. And speaking about that, I immediately thinking in what kind of advantage Colombia has for this kind of industry. And I have to ask you about, in your perspective, what do you think would be the primary advantage of Colombia has as a destination of foreign direct investment? And also, if you can mention from the Pfizer perspective, what do you think is the potential that you envision for the expansion of pharmaceutical sector in Colombia? And what would be those activities that you consider maybe fit in that?
I think, first of all, I tell you about it, I think the talent. I think Colombia has a very robust talent. If you see the young kids learning English since the beginning, not just English, but they are learning different languages. I think this is really important. So in that sense, we have to provide these opportunities to other parts of the country. I think one of the goals that we have as a company is we want to serve others. We want to provide others in terms of education, in terms of health. So in that sense, they provide this opportunity, and the talented people you'll see in Colombia, I mean, a lot. And I am very proud to work here. As I told you, it's my second time here, and I can tell you, I mean, you work a lot. You are very competitive, very knowledgeable about the challenges that you have. This is the first action. So as an investor, I think there is an opportunity to boost that, to take advantage, to have these opportunities in clinical trials, in regulatory and pharmaceutical, and create new innovative approaches or branches in terms of not just the medicines, but also in different solutions. And they can be interesting because they can be solutions that could be scalable and sustainable. And they could be related to the development or the ESG, which is really interesting because you see the economic development could be aimed through these technological skills and foster also the capabilities and the skills of the Colombian people. In terms of pharmaceuticals, as I told you, it depends on how you see. We're an innovative company. We want to provide all the solutions to the people across the line, not just to the urban areas, but also to the rural areas in order to reduce the disparities. So we can provide knowledge transfer. I think this is really interesting in that sense because we have here the opportunities to have this kind of conversations, to have opportunities to show the policies that we have, for instance, in the diversity and exclusion, how we create different colleague advisory boards that we have it here. and also how we can provide this knowledge to a different small companies that want to boost their knowledge about policies and procedures that we can share with them.
Awesome. And in that context, one of the things that we are trying to promote when are selling a Colombia as an investment destination is to be part of a dynamic ecosystem of companies, small, medium, or large company in Colombia that can act as a providers of the multinational companies like you. Obviously involving a local business present in their operations. And when we arrived here a couple of minutes ago, you were mentioned that when you were building this facility, you were hiring a local talent and also local companies to do this. What do you think, what kind of advantage has Pfizer gained from being part of the local ecosystem here in Colombia?
That's a great question, and I was telling that we built this facility according to all the standards that we can have it. It was a globally action that we have, but also one of the good things is we hire local talent. We have more than 1,000 employees working in this facility, and all of these employees are Colombians. That's really proud for us. Almost 70%, all of the infrastructure in terms of the furniture that we have here is Colombian. So we want to have the suppliers as Colombians. We want to ensure them are locally produced. And that's really interesting in that sense, because we want to embrace all the ecosystem. And this is something that is important. We are not isolated. One of the key challenges that we have to be sure is we are part of an ecosystem. In the ecosystem, it's really important to have the critical priorities clear, and then the opportunities to have different dialogues. And in that sense, to have the opportunity to participate with local companies, participate with local industry, participate with local academia, participate with the civil society is really critical. And one of the great learnings that I have after the pandemic or during the pandemic is we can do it. And the importance is how to embrace the clear goals that we have to ensure the local development of the country. And this is not going to be a work that we're going to do isolated. We have to work in a community. We have to work in a society. We have to work really in a work that is going to be inclusive, because this is not just in terms of diversity of thinking, diversity of opportunities. Is the inclusiveness something that we have to think. So this building that we had and we are proud to share today is have a lot of local resources involved, which are really important because we are part of this ecosystem.
Ana, thanks. Female leadership. I think that is going to be very important in this challenge that we live right now and all the things associated with sustainability. Ana, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the coffee, Juan Valdez Coffee, guys. Don't forget that. And thank you very much for having us here, for sharing with us a very important vision and also the things that Pfizer do in order to impact our society. I mean, it's not only to sell medicines or vaccines, it's also we work with the communities and do things like the social impact initiative that you're doing here in Colombia. For us, it has been an honor not only to be here, that you be here with us in this podcast, deeper insights into Pfizer presence in Colombia, and again, thank you very much for you and your team. And for our listeners, remind that stay tuned for the coming episode in our podcast. Ana, thank you very much.
Thank you, Julio. Thank you so much for all of you.